This is the flag of the Republic of Vanuatu, and this is what it looked like between 1906 and 1980. The islands that make up Vanuatu used to be ruled by two colonial powers, Britain and France. Back then, they were called the New Hebrides and were first sighted by Europeans in 1774 by British navigator James Cook. During the 19th century, both French and British settlers started showing up. They set up plantations, mostly for cotton, coffee and coconuts, and also brought missionaries and traders who introduced their own languages, religions and customs. They developed a strong sense of identity and unity, despite the artificial divisions imposed on them by their colonizers. The Anglo-French Condominium had come to an end after 74 years. It was a product of its time when European powers were carving up territories around the world, while the Condominium brought division, confusion, and administrative challenges. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss an upload. It also played a part in shaping modern-day Vanuatu. Today the country celebrates its bilingual, multicultural legacy and stands as an independent island nation in the South Pacific. Today Vanuatu is a vibrant democracy with a thriving economy and a rich cultural scene. The legacy of the condominium era is evident in many aspects of life there. The country is bilingual, with both French and English being official languages alongside Bislama, a Creole language that developed during the colonial period. The legal system reflects the influence of both common law and civil law traditions due to the colonial divide, and religious diversity is also apparent, with different parts of the country adhering mainly to Catholicism or Protestantism. Perhaps the most significant legacy is the strong cultural identity of the Vanuatuan people. Despite the attempt to divide them along colonial lines, they have preserved their customs, traditions, and most importantly, their land ownership systems, which are enshrined in the Constitution. By the mid-20th century, as the tide of decolonization was sweeping across the world, the people of the New Hebrides began to demand independence from their two colonial rulers. After World War II, the desire for local political groups like the Vanuatu Party, led by Walter Linney, started advocating for independence. The British government was more open to the idea of decolonization, while the French were hesitant. Tensions escalated, leading to the Coconut War in 1980. Though small in scale, highlighted the deep-rooted desire for independence. It led to the deployment of Papua New Guinean troops to restore order. This external intervention served as a wake-up call to both France and Britain. As the number of European settlers increased, so did the competition between the two colonial powers. Instead of dividing the islands, they decided to rule them together. On July 29, 1906, the Anglo-French Condominium was officially established. The New Hebrides would be governed jointly by Britain and France. Until 1980, they jointly administered this territory in a bizarre political experiment known as a condominium. So how did this come to be? Well, at the time, both countries had vast empires and colonial holdings around the world. By sharing control of the New Hebrides, they avoided conflict and confrontation in this remote territory. Plus, it allowed them to pool their resources and share the administrative burden. However, this system wasn't without its challenges. Why did Britain and France team up to rule over these islands? And how did Vanuatu eventually become independent? Welcome to my channel. The condominium was often called the Pandemonium by the locals because of the overlapping laws, institutions, and administration. There were two legal systems, two police forces, two sets of schools, and even two currencies, the British pound and the French franc. Imagine the confusion and complications this caused for the local population. There was no unified legislature or government. Decisions had to be made jointly by both colonial authorities, which often led to gridlock and inefficiency. And there was no single citizenship. The people of the New Hebrides were considered French subjects if they lived in a French-administered area, British subjects if they lived in a British area, or stateless New Hebrideans if they were indigenous to the islands. Dual colonial rule also affected education, religion, and business. The British areas leaned towards Protestant missions and English-language education, while the French zones were more influenced by Catholic missionaries and Francophone schooling. This created a dual identity within the native population that still exists today. The story begins in the 19th century with European colonizers looking to set up plantations on these islands. Now you might be wondering, why did Britain and France agree to this odd arrangement? In fact, just listen to this. Despite all these challenges, the local people were able to retain their land rights and much of their cultural system. On July 30th, 1980, the New Hebrides became the independent Republic of Vanuatu. The Anglo-French Condominium of Vanuatu is a unique and unusual chapter in the country's history. Thank you for joining me today.